Let's
do
see.
it.
And I haven't.
Okay, good on my end.
I'm just waiting for it to stream. Uh-oh. Hold on 1 second. I need to log in. Sugar honey
First it was
iced.
me, now it's you.
Oh, it's okay. It's all good.
One day this will all be seamless.
There we go. Okay. Reason why is because I didn't log in and I just need to. If I don't do this regularly, I forget things. Oh, it's streaming.
We're here, we're live.
That's what
Pros.
when you figure things out and go and troubleshoot. Okay. Welcome everyone. I'm Coach Lita. I help women over 40 increase their energy while decreasing emotional and physical pain so that they can have the confidence they deserve, as well as I coach people with Parkinson's to move beyond perceived limitations so that they can have a better quality of life as they age. My background is a Bachelor of Sciences with professional boxing, with experience in geriatric mental health and long-term care. And professionally wise, as an athlete, I have 45 amateur fights, first light welterweight Golden Glove Championship of Canada in 2013, and one as a professional boxer. And in 2017, I was voted Fab Female Health and Wellness Entrepreneur of the Year in Greater Toronto Area. I'm super passionate about movement as medicine, health is your wealth, and boxing saving lives. We are here today for part 2 of Kung Fu versus boxing debate. And I'm here with Coach Damien. Take it away.
Howdy ho. Those of you that don't know me, I come from an archaeological background. And then I decided, screw that, it's no fun and doesn't pay very well. So I did something that doesn't pay very well, but it is fun. So these days, I'm a Kung Fu teacher and personal trainer. And for those of you that don't want to learn Kung Fu, I specialise in getting desk workers over their pain so that they can get back to living fit and active lifestyles again, rather than just complaining that, you know, they're 35 and they're old and broken, because you're not old at 35, despite what the internet might tell you.
I'm 25 forever.
I stopped counting after about 25. Doesn't matter. Anyway, yes. Kung Fu versus boxing, self-defense. Now,
Self-defense. Yes.
I am going to concede an own goal instantly, because I think if I don't get this out of the way, you know, someone's going to mention it, possibly you. But if you take the average person training Kung Fu for a year and the average person training boxing for a year, I have no doubt whatsoever that the boxing person wins. 100%.
Okay.
But
He takes a knee right from the intro.
you win. No, there is a but.
Okay, what's the but?
There
Let's
is
hear
a
it
but.
then.
I
Okay.
think that's down to the training methods that most people use when they teach slash learn Kung Fu, which are very different from what most people would do boxing. And the way that a lot of people learn doesn't set them up well for self-defense. It leaves a lot of gaps, a lot of things missing, which you then have to add in later on. But if you learn the right way, I think Kung Fu wins.
If you learn the right way, Kung Fu wins. So if you're looking at it as a linear side by side, but we have to look at the broader perspective, right?
Yeah.
Self-defense, right? Because self-defense literally means, like, are you able to defend yourself on any moment? Are you able to have those skills to be able to react in that? And if we look at it statistic wise, a lot more people in the world join boxing than they do kung fu. So
Mhm.
boxing is second in the world that people join, and then kung fu is six in
Oh,
terms
been doing some
of
research.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So, um, we gotta think applicability,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Well, yeah. I mean, that could also potentially be used against you. You know, if
Oh,
if lots of people know how to box, then
okay.
that suggests that a lot of the people that you're going to end up facing in the street that might attack you, maybe they've done boxing too. So then you know
Saying
each
if
other's
a lot of
tricks.
people know how to box, then a lot of people know how to be aggressive and violent.
No, I'm just saying that those aggressive and violent people may also have learned how to box. So then you're on even kill with the people attacking you. Whereas if you learn kung fu, you're gonna have a lot of tricks that they don't know about because not as many people are learning it.
That is the funniest argument. Okay. Okay. Interesting point. Interesting point. But are tricks realistic in terms of putting them into action in everyday life? They look great on the movie screen, like Matrix style, Jackie Chan, Jet Li, dirty drunken fighting and all that kind of stuff. But in reality, how many people are you able to actually train those similar skills with in an everyday situation in terms of actually practicality in the gym?
Yeah, yeah. No, I completely agree with that. There's a lot of very fancy stuff out there that people are like, this is an amazing move. It's going to beat everyone. And yeah, who's actually necessarily going to be able to do that move? But it doesn't. When I say tricks, it doesn't have to be like triple backflip. Just kicking someone in the leg. You kick a boxer in the leg. They're not used to that. They're there with their. I mean, it depends obviously what style that they're using, but they're always going to have a certain amount of weight on that lead leg that they're not used to having to worry about so much. You start giving it a few good kicks, all of a sudden their mobility goes. They don't have the range because legs aren't as legs are longer than arms.
Okay. Okay, that's a very good point. But the first thing that we learn in boxing is the foundation, which is your footwork. So your
Hmm.
angles, fast feet. In pro, we go longer, so you sit longer into your punches, so your feet, you're not in and out like you were in the amateurs. But most of it is very much based on angles, understanding the center of gravity, and being able to react really, really fast, left, right, center, forwards, all different angles. Where so we often see punches and kicks coming first.
But you can't dodge everything. I mean, you look at the top fighters in the world that do some form of punch and kick combination. Maybe they do
Yes.
kickboxing, maybe it's MMA, maybe it's Muay Thai. All these guys still get kicked in the leg, you know, but they've trained for it and they know how to react to it, and without just moving forward and back. Whereas boxers, I'm not going to say that they've got like skinny little wimpy legs, but they're not used to getting kicked there. It's going to hurt.
But they have faster reaction skills in terms of footwork. But I have trained with professional MMA fighters who have done karate, those kinds of forms of martial
Hmm.
arts. And what they all pretty much agree on is that, like in those forms of martial arts, because it's very much points based, it's very much fluffy and not realistic.
Yeah, I mean that I think goes back to the point of how you train. If you train for point sparring, then that's what you get good at. If you train for smashing people in the face, that's what you get good at. And boxing's really good at that. Good at really honing those key skills and taking people into a light, comfortable sparring situation, and then gradually building up that skill in a proper um, sparring slash fight situation. And that's something that the way boxers train has been honed really well. But that doesn't mean that you can't do the same thing with kung fu, and some people do. It's what I try to do with my training, and you end up doing that, but as well as having punches, because we still punch, but we've
Yes.
got kicks, we've got throws, we've got elbows, we've got knees, we've got grappling, whether that's, stand up grappling like clinch or taking it down to the ground. So I think there are a lot of situations we could get a boxer into that they would be more comfortable. Or if it's not Kung Fu versus boxer, it's Kung Fu versus randomer, boxer versus randomer,
Back to the main point though, we're talking self-defense, right? We're not talking like boxer versus Kung Fu artists, like actually grappling and that. We're talking about the skill to be able to react in a moment's notice to defend yourself, which requires, acuity, nerve, the ability to react in a moment's notice, right? And so I'm going to bring in one of the most famous, if not the most famous Kung Fu artist, was Bruce Lee. And Bruce Lee said that the regular boxer or wrestler will win against a martial artist with years of experience. So I mean, and we're bringing this again, I'm going to read back to my point of self-defense in real world time. So and with experience of taking some martial arts and stuff, there's so much thought processes over analysis by paralysis, right? So in the real world, self-defense, we need to be able to actually.
You do. But I think that goes back to how you coach. The thing that Bruce Lee was really getting at wasn't that Kung Fu as a martial art sucked. Or any martial art was good and any martial art was bad. He was getting at the fact that so many people that train traditional martial arts, whether it's Kung Fu, karate, whatever it might be, they get into this habit of, I'm gonna do my form, my Taolu, my kata, and then maybe I'm going to learn the applications from that. And then you go, right, done. I know how to fight. Which, as you know, isn't the case. You have to properly, train with a partner with increasing amounts of resistance, eventually go to completely free sparring. And if you do that, then you get that timing, you get that reaction, you get that ability to respond to unexpected situations. But you also have an extra load of tools if you've learned Kung Fu rather than just boxing.
Well, tools, yes, fancy tools that will give you that.
But I concede that having less to think about does make that an easier task. If you only have to think about what you're doing with your hands and your feet are kind of just supporting you rather than I need to support myself for a punch. And
You've
then I
never
need to kick
boxed,
afterwards.
have you? You've never boxed, have you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
No, I know you do stuff with your feet, but I mean, like, your considerations of movement and balance are easier because at no point in boxing are you trying to balance on one leg with your other leg, up above your head, which is obviously harder to do than balance as I step in and throw across or whatever it might be. Obviously, lots of footwork involved, but it's easier, which is a good thing in some ways.
It's easier to kick or it's easier to throw a punch?
Easier to throw a punch and easier to think about your footwork and your balance if all you're thinking about is punching, because there are less variables to be aware of. It's very easy to get into a position where you can't lift your leg up to kick, but you could still punch. So you have to modify how you do things.
Okay, so we're back to the fancy tricks.
yeah, and back to even training the right way.
Training the right way.
Concede that a boxer of a year experience would be better than a Kung Fu person of a year experience. 5 years, maybe not so much.
Okay, so I'm gonna bring back make it so it's the simplicity that makes things more effective and faster to learn, right? Mm-hmm. And if we're looking, again, just the self-defense component, right? And I talk because from a woman's perspective, because I'm a woman, and 1 in 3 women, often stats-wise, will experience some form of something that they need to defend themselves against, right?
Yeah.
So if we're looking at the simplicity of making things faster and more effective to learn, in boxing, the faster you implement these tools, the more it builds your confidence. And if we're talking about self-defense and confidence and being attacked in kind of the real world, or even bringing that concept on when you're out and about, the more confidence you have, the less likely you are to attract that attention where you have to defend yourself. Because bullies are generally the ones that will attack.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that speaks as well to the fact that it's not just about learning martial arts. When it comes to self-defense, there's a ton of other stuff behind it. You know, it's learning awareness, learning tactics to make sure that you don't end up in a situation where you're more likely to have to defend yourself. Whether that's, you know, not walking down a dark alley at night by yourself, or, you know, whether it's doing things like being aware of your surroundings, who's there, you know, having your phone on you, you know, maybe talking to someone on the phone, whether it's just making sure you don't go to certain parts of town at certain times, or not going off on your own, or not trying to pick an argument with someone, you know, all these things that before you even get to the need to defend yourself, you can kind of diffuse the situation or avoid the situation ever coming up. And I generally say to people, you know, if you're really looking to be safe, number one thing you should practice, besides anything else, sprinting. If you can run faster than them, you're going to be okay.
Yeah, that is so funny. I've never, if it's very true though, sprinting, that anaerobic capacity happens from sprinting, right? So
yeah. It helps you fight and helps you get away. double purpose. But, you know, the fact is that even if you're amazing, you're the best in the world, there's still a chance that you get hurt seriously with self-defense. But if you prevent that situation ever emerging, either a long way down the road, or you're just able to just get out of that situation really quickly as soon as it emerges, that's by far the safest option.
That is the most effective option. So what we can agree on here and what we've come to the conclusion is that it's safety first by confidence, awareness, perception. And then if all else fails, run your mofo ass off.
Yeah.
But you first don't want to get in that situation. So what we know for sure is that both disciplines help prevent that situation, and prevention is worth a pound of cure. So I hope that all our viewers can agree on that.
Hopefully. There's probably a few out there that's like, nah, I just want to get in a fight.
Well, I know.
And those are the people that we don't teach.
But confidence and self-esteem and the ability to build focus and discipline on the skill.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in here today. Let us know your perspective in the votes, okay? Yes. On YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. And then part 3, I haven't looked at my calendar yet this morning, Damien, is
30th of July, I think.
30th of July. Time. So tune in for our third and final part of the debate for Kung Fu versus boxing. Which one is more fun?
I think we're both going to be very biased on this one. As if we haven't been biased already, but you know.
Okay, awesome. Thanks so much for joining me here today, Coach Damien, and we will see everyone on July 30th.
All right, cheers guys. Cheers later. Talk to you soon.